Hey everyone, welcome back to Awesome Farms. My name is Grayson, and before you get into the video, please go on and click that thumbs up button, and go on and subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and let's go on and get into the video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Awesome Farms, and today we are going to be getting into this colony right here, and a big topic today I'm going to be addressing and talking about is a topic that I myself have been, trying to do here in our apiary, is getting our bees to expand / keep growing, and how to do that. Now there's many methods to do it, so I'm just going to give some insights and stuff today of what works for me, what has worked for me, and we're going to use this colony as an example, because this colony, of course, it isn't the biggest colony, but at one point their brood wasn't looking good, and there just weren't a lot of bees in here. It was very light bees in here. They're still alive, they're still doing okay, but there just wasn't a lot of bees. But today, last time I checked, there were an unbelievable amount of bees. So we're going to check this colony. I'm going to show you guys what's going on in here. If you guys remember some of my last videos with this colony, it wasn't too long ago. It was about a week, 2 weeks ago. As we can see here, we got nectar and stuff, so we're just putting in the nectar here on this empty comb, drawing that out. This colony right here tried to swarm me, and I split them, and I still have the split. The split's still doing well, and they're in a 10 frame box, and they are growing, and they're doing well. See what we got in here. Let's pull up our first frame to see what we have. Alright, let's look here. Now, one thing we're going to be talking at the end of the video about getting our bees to start expanding / grow. We'll have like a little fun time today, kind of showing you guys some stuff. If you're a new beekeeper here, or if you're just a beekeeper who knows me and you already know a lot of stuff and you want to do it your way, I hope you'd still watch and just kind of watch this video and get an idea of what I recommend and think about getting our bees to expand, because it's very important this time of year, as we all know. Look at all these bees, look at all this brood. It's a lot of brood here. As we can see on the sides, we've got some nectar, which is the sugar water most likely, but I have been feeding them, so it's okay that they're filling it in. They just don't need to overdo it. So just watch and make sure they don't go into a mode where they start filling everything with nectar, and then you'll be honey bound and you'll have too much honey, and then the queen won't be able to lay. So if you have that case, you'll have to put empty frames in there and give her more places to lay. Well, we got a nice little piece of pattern here. We have eggs in here, so our queen has been here recently, so we know our queen's in here. We know she's probably doing pretty good. Nice frame. This is just one of the outside frames. This is a good, decent cluster here, so once more of this brood hatches, it will continue to do good. It looks like these 4 frames right here probably most likely have all the brood. Let's go and pull this frame up. Alright, look at here. Look at that. Look at that brood, folks. That's a lovely, beautiful sheet of brood. Once this brood hatches, it'll be unbelievable. If you guys remember one of my past videos, this colony's brood was not doing well. And there's our queen right there in the middle. Now, a quick update before we continue on with this video and what we're talking about today. I was able to get some marking pens, so I'm going to mark this queen because this queen came from this year, I believe. I think she did. That's all I know because I bought these nukes. I got to be careful. I'm going to put her back in here. This is a, oh, there we go. Very nice sheet of brood, very nice frame of bees. Lots of bees, good frame of brood. And this queen is doing a fantastic job, I will tell you. And that's another important thing. We'll come back at the end, and I'll talk a lot more on this, because I won't be able to talk about everything in this video. It looks like our frame accidentally fell down here. That ain't good. Just be careful with that. But one important thing as beekeepers also, when we're talking about trying to get our bees to start growing, if we have a small split, or you split a colony. This colony raised a new queen. This is a new queen from this year. I know exactly that this queen is from this year. Earlier I did say that I didn't know, but I just remembered that this colony swarmed, and I took the queen and I put her over there. I don't know about that queen, the original queen. This queen is absolutely a 2024 queen. She is a great queen. We're going to mark her green once we get our all the marking pens and stuff that we'll need as a quick little update. Now, let's pull this frame up. Look at all these bees. These bees are just, man, so many bees in here. Look at here. Look at all this. This ain't cat brood, but this is nothing but larva, eggs. And this was once brood. As you can see on the side there, there's some leftover brood cappings there that are probably about to hatch, and we can see a lot of young bees. One important thing as beekeepers is for growing our colonies, is to get our queen laying. We need to get our queen laying good. And if you're in the dirt, it's hard to do that because there's not a lot of nectar out there, so the queen doesn't get stimulated to lay. They just kind of lay it low. But if you can feed them, which I've been doing, you can get that queen to lay, and you can be brooding up early, and once you get more in the fall, they'll start raising the bees of physiology. Of course, they're probably raising them now as well. If you don't know what bees of physiology are, they're basically bees that live longer than summer bees. Summer bees only live for a month, around a month, and then the bees of physiology, they live for about 6 months, for the whole winter. So that's important for beekeepers to think about. Now, over here, as you can see, we have a lot of nectar on the top. That's okay. You have some nectar, but we do got brood down there, so we got a lot of good brood down there. This side, we got a little patch of brood here too. We just gotta watch and make sure they don't pack all of it in the queen's way. But she has already 2 frames full of bees and of brood, and another 2 frames of partially frames of brood, partial. We got a little bit of pollen on the bottom there, so this is a very healthy colony. This colony is doing very well. And if you guys know this colony, I'll try to put up some pictures when I'm editing this video to show you guys what this colony was before. There just weren't as many bees. They were just a little bit more scattered, but now they're just really doing well. I think this colony is going to do well. We just got to keep getting these bees to brood up. That's important right now. We got to keep these bees brooding up. We can't stop. So, don't overfeed by any means, but just make sure they have, you're feeding them if you want it. If you want a lot of brood, that's important, to feed and get your bees stimulated. And you kind of get an early start. It's kind of what Bob Benny does, early feeding, getting his bees built up. You have a lot of brood already in there. Get more brood and get more food in there for the bees. Now here we go. We got another frame of brood. Now look at that. Another beautiful frame of brood. That's a nice little sheet of brood there. And on this side, even more. It's even prettier. Look at that. Lovely frame of brood. This queen is awesome. She's doing a fantastic job, and she's definitely a keeper in my books. So we got like 5 frames of decent, at least 3 frames of full brood, and then the other 2 are just, a little bit, not as much, which is good enough. That's all you really need in the cluster down here in Alabama. That's all we need. If we have more, that's just a bonus. But all my colonies right now in like 10 frames usually have about 5 to 6 frames of brood in the colonies right now. This one has 5. Others have 4, some have 3. That's fine too. I'm still feeding a lot of the colonies that need to be fed too, and this colony is doing well. This is the last frame. Oh, never mind. Look at there. We got another frame of brood here too. Look at there. We got a lot of young bees hatching, and we got a lot of eggs right here too. As you can see here, this side right here is filled with nectar, so they backfill that up with nectar. I'm going to turn this frame around because we got some eggs there too. I'm going to turn it around so then this will be facing inward to the brood that we have already on the side here, because that's kind of what I like to do. I don't want to have nectar then brood, because they'll end up filling this up with nectar too. So that's kind of what we're going to do there, and there we go. We are done. Well, hope you guys enjoyed getting into that colony. It was really fun to do it, and we saw a lot of good stuff in there. And before we go, I kind of want to talk a little bit about building up your colonies, getting ready for winter. Usually colonies do that naturally. They always build up naturally, building up to winter to get their numbers up. But whenever we put them in the box, I always feel like that, it's a little bit of my duty to help those bees build up. Especially in this time of year, which we do not have any nectar. Nectar is what the bees go out and consume, as we all know. And whenever they take it in, that stimulates the queen to start laying. And whenever there isn't any nectar out there, due to math, the queen will not be getting stimulated to lay, and they're not going to have a lot of brood in the colony. That's why I check that colony, and I've been feeding that colony. I go on rounds, and I'll talk a little bit about how I do that too, because I only have like 5 buckets, and I got 10 colonies. So I'll kind of mention some of how I do that, and swip swap it each time when I feed, of course. Now, like I said, bees will do it naturally, but I like to stimulate my queen early to start brooding up. All my queens have brood, all my hives have brood, all my queens are laying really well, and that's because I have been feeding lately to get my queens stimulated. So if you're wondering, how do I build up my colonies? How do I get more bees in the colony? The main answer is in the queen, to stimulate that queen to lay. How do you do it? Feed, feed, feed. Now, you don't have, you can do 2 to 1, 2 cups sugar, 1 cup water if you want to do that. A lot of times that's for building up, putting stores in there, so that's a little bit more later if you want to have honey stored in the colony. 1 to 1 is for brood production, is what I've always done. Now here's something else that you can do if you want to use sugar water, sugar syrup to stimulate your bees. I don't do 1 to 1 sugar water. I usually kind of just eyeball it and see kind of the perfect amount that I think might be, good. I really like to do like 1 cup sugar, 3 cups water, in basic math. Now we could do it, go into more specifics and stuff, but that's pretty basic. I don't do too much sugar because that, number one, saves me sugar, saves me money, and I have more of that sugar to use in more buckets, and I have more sugar to use overall in my apiary, right? So you can just kind of save more sugar for later and for when you need it, right? You're not using so much sugar in one use, right? That's what I like to do. Now, there's some other things that you can do as well if you want to try to stimulate your queen with sugar syrup. Number 1, bee stimulants. So basically there's so many options, so many different things on the market. I've used Apis Biologics. It's a very, very basic stimulant that we beekeepers use. Ian Stepler calls it rocket fuel. It's my favorite. It really works well. I can't say all the specifics on it, but you can always go look at it and see for yourself. It really works good for me. Apis Biologics. Now there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you can use for stimulating your queen. Like some different stimulants that you put into sugar syrup. It's just additives. It isn't really sugar syrup itself. You don't want to feed it to them raw or anything. You need to put it and stir it up in sugar syrup if if you're a new beekeeper. There's so many other things. I'm actually getting a new product that I'm going to try out. It's called Bee Booster or Brood Booster. I'll mention more about that later. I haven't used it, so I don't really have any comment on it. I found it on Amazon because I was looking for Apis Biologics, and there wasn't any. So I just decided, hey, I'll just go with this and see how it works. Might as well try some new stuff. Now, you can feed all you want. You can do all the feeding you want, stimulate your queen, get more brood. Your bees will keep going up. But there's still one thing in your way, and that's the varroa mite. Now, I know you've heard about it, the varroa mite, over and over and over again. You're like, nah, maybe we don't need a tree. Do we have to test or any of these different things? I'm going to test some of my colonies. I'm not going to do all of them because some of my hives are smaller and I really can't afford to kill some bees because I need them to have all their workforce as they have it. I'll do some of the ones that are stronger and I'll test some of those. And you really need to treat. I know a lot of people are against it, but it really does help your bees. I'm for it, but do make sure you test because it's really crucial to test so you know where your mite numbers are. Unless, like I said, that hive that you're testing really doesn't have a lot of bees, might as well just go on and put some Apivar or Apigard Ferment Pro. Now, what to treat with, I can't tell you what to treat with. You just gotta figure out what works for you. But I will say for me, and we'll talk a little about some of my stuff, I got some Apigard on the way. It took me a little bit while to get on the roll to get some, but I got some Abigard. We're going to treat with Abigard this year, and we're going to make sure that our mite numbers stay low. Now, how can the varroa mite hurt our bees? There's many ways, different type of things that the varroa mites do to hurt our bees, but I don't really have a chart, but I really do want to kind of talk about how the varroa mite will make your numbers go down. Now, let's start basic, sweet, and simple. Now, you have a strong colony, they're strong, they're doing well, you're feeding them, they have a lot of brood, they have a very healthy queen. And let's say your varroa mite numbers start going up in the fall, and you don't treat. So those numbers, those varroa mite numbers keep going up, they keep on duplicating, and they keep on going up, and they start overwhelming your bees, because they have a lot of different viruses that they give to the bees. The foreign wing virus for one, and many others. And what happens is those varroa mite numbers keep stalling, and keep going up, and up. And then what happens is right when you go into winter, and you keep going through winter, your bee numbers, they go down the roof. They go down, and then you're wondering, why are my numbers this low? And then you're wondering, why is it? Well, it's probably the varroa mites, because you kept letting those numbers keep going up and up. And you can feed all you want, like I said earlier. You can feed during winter, you can feed before winter, like I'm doing now. They're raising numbers up, but the varroa mites can easily take over and kill your colony. So you just need to be really careful with that. It's a basic, simple way of knowing how the varroa mite does harm your bees in a interesting way, should I say. But we do need to treat. We need to make sure we treat and test, so we know our numbers afterwards. And that's really what this video is about, building up your bees. It is fall. It's about to be fall at least. It's still hot today. It's a hot day today. It's really warm. Nice day. Right now the wind's blowing. If you can kind of see, I see some clouds over there. Hopefully it won't rain. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. It is fall. We're getting to fall, and it is time to start building our bees up, preventing the varroa mite, start feeding our bees, and getting our bees ready for winter. There's a lot of other things going into this, but this is pretty much really it when we talk about it. Last thing I will mention before we head out is make sure your queen is healthy. When you're wanting to build up your colony, you really need a healthy queen. You need to make sure you have a healthy queen. I've done videos on checking your queen, examining your queen, making sure you have a great brood pattern. All my brood patterns are good, and I would suggest for everybody, if you're trying to build up your bees, to make sure you do some inspections. Don't do them too long and too much, just enough that you know your queen is healthy, your bees are healthy. Test, treat, test, feed, and you should be good to go. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Grayson. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic day.